My sister-in-law said I shamed her, but I think I was justified.
Shame.
A couple of years ago, my brother met his now wife, Susan, 33 female, and started bringing her to our events. Our family has a cabin that we use every year for a 1-week family vacation. Normally, it used to be our parents, husband and I and my brother, but for the last 2 years, Susan also joined us. This year, I refuse to go if Susan is present, and my parents want me there, so Susan is not invited anymore. By the way, this comes from Job OK 8941, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. So, on to why I don't want Susan to come with us. The short reply is that she's disgusting. She doesn't have any kind of hygiene, and every vacation with her was a nightmare because she can't act like a normal human being. Some examples of what happened until now. She stinks. Plain and simple. How my brother can tolerate her smelling the way she does is beyond my understanding, but all the rest of us have had a hard time being in her presence. The reason why she stinks is because she is against deodorant. She uses items that don't belong to her without asking and without informing anyone afterwards. Last year, I have left my husband and my husband's towel to dry in the sun after we had our morning showers. Around noon, I wanted to take the towel back to our room and noticed it was soaking wet, which couldn't be possible since it literally stayed in the sun for half a day. When I asked if anyone knows what happened to our towel or why it was wet, Susan said she had a shower and used it. It's a miracle that she showers, but I don't share my towels with anyone except my husband, so it landed right in the bin. She acted offended that I threw it out and said that there's no need to act like she has the plague. I told her that there is also no need to use my towel, and I don't care what she has or not. It's not okay to use things that don't belong to you no matter what. She also doesn't clean the toilet after using it, so all of us found period blood and poo displayed when we needed to use the bathroom. She also doesn't wrap her tampons when throwing them away in the bin. Her reason every time is, I forgot. I have seen her multiple times drinking milk directly from the bottle. She also forgets that we don't want to share saliva with her and that this habit is disgusting. She uses her hands to mix ingredients without washing them before. She was making a salad and mixed everything together in the bowl with her dirty hands. When we talked to my brother about everything, he always made excuses for her. His main justifications are that she has autism and that she grew up poor, so we needed to be understanding of her. I am not. Poverty is not an excuse to stink and be dirty. Poverty and autism are not excuses to not clean the toilet after you use it when you have a brush there for that exact purpose. I guess my brother told her the reasons why she's not invited, and she confronted me, crying that I am shaming her. So I told her if by this age she is incapable of feeling ashamed by her own behavior, there's a very slim chance I or anyone else can ever shame her in that way.
No.
I don't think so. I mean,
no. I think
30s,
I think the excuses that the brother gave are stupid.
Yeah.
Truly, I think that, I don't think either of those mean that you can be disrespectful in someone else's home.
Yeah.
I think maybe if it was to do with her autism, then it would be maybe there's a different way to approach going about it and stuff. But the brother's not doing anything about it. He's not I'll talk to her about it. He's just no, she just has to be that way.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
No.
Yikes, dude. Yeah, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think it's totally fine for you to feel these things and I mean, yeah, there's some things where it's okay, maybe we can go about this in a gentle way and just bring it up to you, but you know,
if you brought it up,
yeah.
I mean, I guess I wonder how you brought this up.
Yeah,
did you bring it up to her before you said you're never inviting her over?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was only brought up to the brother, and then the brother just kind of was it's not a problem. And then they didn't really confront her specifically, but I mean,
so I would say maybe if you could have talked to her directly and said this is not okay.
Yeah, rather than uninviting her.
Yeah.
I think that
I do think you have a right to uninvite her. I just think
sure, if you want
maybe direct conversation first.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I would say.
But we do have some comments though. Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole. Your brother is for blaming autism for her behavior. One thing I found autistic people are normally very good at is understanding direct instructions please wash your hands before touching food, and please don't use my things without asking, and you have to make the toilet look clean before you leave the room. I can understand that deodorant might be difficult from a sensory perspective, although I've found the cream ones suit me. However, if you don't use it, you need to clean yourself more often so you don't have BO. Comment number 2 says, My grandmother used to always say, soap is cheap. You can at least be clean. Meaning if you didn't have the best clothes or the newest clothes, you could be clean and neat with what you had. Comment number 3 says, throwing a towel away instead of washing it because someone else used it is ridiculous. Presumably your family washes your towels, not just trashes them all and buys new ones every vacation. Hot water and detergent would have been perfectly sufficient to clean that towel, and you know it. That specific action, which you made sure she knew about, you did deliberately do to hurt her because you loathe her. As for the other points about her hygiene, they sound pretty disgusting, and she should certainly know and behave better than that. But you are the a-hole to throw away a towel because someone used it. Petty and mean. Updates. Thank you guys all for your feedback for my last post. After yesterday, I was left with mixed feelings. On one hand, I'm happy that there are still normal people around who value being clean and sanitary. But on the other hand, I was sad to see how many nasty people we have around us. Someone said very well that shame should once again start being a thing because maybe by feeling ashamed, some people will start acting normally again and stop demanding the rest of society to put up with nasty habits. As an adult, to go on the internet and claim that a 33-year-old female must be shown and explained basic things like cleaning a toilet seat after getting it dirty is unreal. Just a personal idea, but I will share it here. One may not learn from home everything they need to know or all the social standards, but each and every one of us is responsible to educate ourselves if that education did not come in our early years. Meaning your parents may not have explained to you why it's important to have good hygiene, but as an adult, you have all the means to learn it yourself. Those who say, my parents did not teach me this and this is why I didn't know, are just lazy and ignorant people. If you have a phone and internet access to waste time on writing nonsense on Reddit, you can clearly use those tools to Google it or watch tutorials on how to deal with your period, your sanitary products, or how to clean poop after yourself. That being said, my family and I are leaving tomorrow to go to the cabin. My brother will join us, but Susan will not. He will most likely give us more details the following days, but I guess he is also tired of his wife and her inability to act like a normal human being. It's sad, and he is also to blame for how things turned out for not putting a stop to his wife's nasty habits. But well, for the first time in 2 years, we will enjoy our family vacation and my parents will have both his kids present with no stress, not being disgusted or tired of cleaning after an adult woman. For those who seemed unable to understand why my husband is still invited and my brother's wife is not, the answer is because my husband is not a pig and because my husband did not leave period blood on the toilet seat, making my father storm out of the house to go pee in his own yard because he was too disgusted to use his own bathroom from his own cabin. And I hope you are never too disgusted to listen to more full episodes of stories just like this one. Just go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is and search OK Storytime. We may talk about poo and pee in some of them, but they're not all that gross.
Disgusting.
They're not all that gross. It's okay, guys. Yeah, but there is a little bit more to the story. I think she was a little harsh with that one.
I don't fully agree with her.
Yeah.
I think that to say oh, if you didn't learn it as a kid, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And there is no grace. I disagree. I think there are tons of I think everyone has different parents who prioritize different things. And so there's going to be gaps in knowledge for everyone. I think it's kind of in a similar vein of learning about diversity and stuff and learning about just historical things. There's going to be gaps in people's knowledge depending on where they're coming from. And so I think that there should be leniency and also just grace and willingness to have that conversation.
Yeah. And with history and stuff like that, that's stuff that you learn in school. So that's okay, yeah, if I want to learn more about it and if I don't know about it, I guess I should look it up.
And even then there's gaps in different curriculums.
Totally. But then with social stuff, that's not something you learn online because of those gaps and because things might be like that here, but then I something I see online, I will take that advice and then the people around me think it's still weird, you know?
Yeah.
So it's that's something that you can't look up and how would you even know to look it up if you didn't think it was a problem before?
Yeah.
You know? So
on the other hand, if you do have this conversation respectfully and she says, I don't know how to do it, whatever, I F you, then she's the a-hole. Or if you say, can you do this? And she says, oh yeah, of course. And never changes.
Yeah.
Never tries to learn on her completely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she is not at fault for what she's doing
Sure.
and like the mess that she's creating. But I think that to say that no one should ever be given grace, just because they're an adult is a little bit unfair.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, it feels like I mean, there is a little bit more to the story, but yeah, never mind. There's a little bit more to the story. I hope this clears that absurd question, but if you need more graphic descriptions, I can provide. Also, for those who will start crying in a corner how unfair it is that Susan will be excluded, tough life, bro. Society will exclude you if you are unable to follow basic, decent cues because people don't owe you anything. And no, this does not come from a place of hate as immature people want to believe. It comes from a place of valuing boundaries and comfort. And one last thing. I promise this trip I am not throwing any towel away since this was such a triggering topic for many of you. Keep calm. The towels are safe with me, I swear. And there are some final comments. Comment number 1 says, the whole "my parents didn't teach me" argument most definitely has its limits. My mom didn't teach me how to fix the fault codes on our boiler because she didn't know how. A random mechanic on YouTube taught me. Then I taught her. My best friend grew up poor with a harmful heavy drinker mom. Cleanliness was never taught in her house. She's also on the spectrum and taught herself how to keep tidy and made sure her brothers kept up with their hygiene. They'd even come use our showers when they had no hot water and the bathroom was spotless after because she'd clean up after them before she even left the bathroom. Sister-in-law has made a choice not to learn or keep up with hygiene and doesn't care if it affects others. I can't imagine their home. Please ask your brother how he deals with his wife being like this. I'm genuinely curious to know how you get to know someone when dating, and then most likely living together before marriage and not see what's going on. OP says, I will. I'm also curious, especially since they are so different. My brother is clean. He never leaves a mess behind. He is aware and respects others. So it's very strange for me to see this pair. And that's the end of that story, dang.
My sister-in-law wants to split the family business 50-50, but I won't do it.
I own 51% of this company.
My husband, 31 male, and I, 27 female, met in 2016 in the Air Force. We were 20 and 24 then, and got married in 2018. We both got out of the military by 2022, but while we were in, we visited his family who were in another state twice a year. I don't have much family as I have a tumultuous upbringing and my mom passed away when I was 19. His family was pretty nice when visiting. They owned a bakery in a small town of about 16,000 people. It's been in the family for 70 years, passed down 2 generations. By the way, this comes from Crazy Doe 13, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, from the minute I got to know them, his sister-in-law talked about us moving back and us taking over the business together. She said I could decorate and she'd do donuts and my husband could bake. That was the plan. She'd worked there on and off most of her life while her other sister is a nurse and her brother, my husband, went to the military. I loved the idea and always liked baking and even thought of owning a bakery one day. It seemed perfect. Fast forward to 2021, I had separated from the military and my husband had a year left and we've got another 30 minutes. He ended up getting a deployment and in order to save money, he thought it best to move in with his family and rack up all that pay. Seeing as I didn't have anyone in my family to stay with, I thought it's smart and his family had always been nice. Well, I moved in with the in-laws and his sister-in-law, who had just had a divorce, lived there also. Things were okay for a while until little tiffs happened here and there. I'd frequently eat out and I'd leave leftovers in the fridge. Well, for months, my father-in-law would eat my food. I didn't mind, although it was a bit annoying. He'd never asked. But it's their house, so I accepted it. Well, one day he asked me about leftovers and I told him those were mine. And I was going to eat it later when I got home. My sister-in-law was leaving at the same time and being sisterly as we walked out. I said, I bet he eats it when I get back. She laughed and said, I doubt it. And we parted ways. Later that night when I got home, I was right. Food was gone. I jokingly texted her saying, told ya, he ate it. She snapped back saying, if I want food myself, I should get my own fridge and I should be grateful to stay here. It was so bizarre. And little things like that continued. When we talk things out, she'd constantly say things like, I never have conflict with other women. It's so weird it's only with you. Classic mean girl signs. I brushed it off because she was going through a divorce and being in her mid-30s and back with her parents. I just assumed she was a little down and taking it out on me. It got to the point I just moved out and moved in with his longtime best friend until he got back. After that, things between my sister-in-law and I were fine. Finally, in 2023, with a ton of convincing from my part, he never wanted the family business, but realized the opportunity he had. He discharged from the military and moved to his hometown to do just that. Things were going great at first. We moved in with my in-laws. My sister-in-law had just gone through a divorce, so she happened to be staying there as well. My husband started working nights baking with his dad, and I started working during the day with my sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and a long-standing employee. At first, things were good. I was learning basics and getting the hang of the day-to-day with customers making sandwiches, the small tasks. I'm a pretty quick learner, and we were planning to learn for the year, then buy the business, the beginning of the next. We hadn't really talked about percent or money yet. We just knew his dad wanted $10,000 down, and we, sister-in-law, me and husband, were going to buy the business from him. His parents planned on staying on to help a few days a week once we bought it too, to help out. After I pretty much learned the basics, I of course wanted to start learning to decorate. Now, at this time, my mother-in-law did all of the decorating. My sister-in-law came in at 2 a.m. and iced donuts and did the dishes. Our part-time help made subs, cleaned, customers, that sort of stuff. So I didn't think it would be a problem learning to decorate since that's the job I'll be primarily doing next year. Well, boy, was I wrong. The employee, we'll call her Tara to have a name, wanted to learn to decorate too. So it became where she would go up to decorate and I would be stuck doing the small tasks and not getting to learn. So I talked to my sister-in-law as I didn't want to overstep, and we came up with a plan. I did certain days and she learned certain days. That was fine in theory, but either the employee wasn't getting the message or my sister-in-law wasn't telling her, because I still wasn't getting to learn. At this point, I became a bit frustrated because we were set to buy the business in 6 months and I hadn't learned a thing. So one day, on my scheduled learning day, I came in and she was up there decorating. I finally said, "It's my day to learn," and my sister-in-law and I came up with these days. Well, my mother-in-law snapped back, "She should be the one to decorate. She's been here longer."
What?
Well,
Dude,
Girl.
how am I supposed to learn?
Girl.
You should
This-
take him on learning day.
as a
Taking my
business,
learning day.
you know how many people know how to work this computer back here?
Yeah.
We have 2 people in the room, 1 person that knows it basically halfway. And the reason we do that is because if someone isn't here and we need to run the stream, we can. As a
Well, do
business
it.
lady, this mother-in-law,
Terrible
do you not like
business.
money? Do you not like just making sure everything's good?
Yeah,
Totally.
and then it gets unfair too, because like I've worked somewhere where it was like, oh well, you were really good at this thing, so like you're gonna do this. Not to me necessarily, but to some people. And then it's like, okay, well now these people who have never done this
Are
one
never
job
gonna
like
be good at it.
don't know how to do it. Yeah, so
I just walked away and did my job in the back and went home. When I told my husband, he was furious. He went downstairs and yelled at his mom and sister, telling them that they owed me an apology. My mother-in-law did. Never heard from my sister-in-law. After that, my husband thought it best I work in the back, baking with him, and learn to decorate once we owned the business and had the say. We ended up buying a house in July because we just had to get out of that house. And his sister-in-law didn't seem to be moving out soon. We still had to save for the down payment for the bakery, but his sister just went through a divorce and has more debt. So we moved out first. Not even 2 months later, she moved into a little house to rent. She just had to have a place seeing us get a place. She's been insecure since the divorce and had acted very jealous of us getting a house. She moved back in with her parents after 8 months because she was falling behind on payments. Just a clue into her financial habits. She always cared so much about how she looks to outside people, what she has, and compares herself to everyone. Anyway, at this point, I realized the extent of the jobs and icing donuts and dishes didn't seem like something an owner would do. So we decided my sister-in-law could decorate and my husband and I would bake in the back. Sure. So it
sounds
seems
like a great
yeah,
plan that
we're
everyone
figuring it
could
out.
seem to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
right.
She was fine with it, but there was still constant drama. I'd bring up ideas and she'd snap at me and shut them down. Like they ice every donut by hand and wash every dish by hand. I advised we'd get a dishwasher and donut icer to cut payroll costs. And she'd say, "If we get a donut icer, customers will know. They'll look terrible." Or, "I've already said before years ago, we should have a dishwasher." Nothing new. And one day I snapped, saying she was a mean girl and constantly at my neck. She wanted me here, but has been mean ever since. Even outside of work, someone would compliment my hair, and she'd jump the conversation to herself. Never a moment not about her. My husband and everyone close to her said she's always been like this. She was also very bad with money, not learning to decorate, and talking bad about me to many family members. When we finally got down to discussing money, all heck broke loose. Up until this point, we really didn't have any idea of profits and such, but my husband got some info from his dad. It would result in all of us taking a pay cut. His sister and my husband and I also were at odds with all of the plans we had for the bakery. We all sat down, and she wanted 50 for her and 50 for us. No.
Right? And that includes everyone doing, 50% of the amount of the work and the other people doing 50% of the work, right?
But we wouldn't be able to survive on one income, and she'd be making double than us for half the work. Yeah, so again, to be clear, she'd be making 50%, and then OP and her husband would be making 50% together as a unit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like,
instead of being
me
like,
versus
let's split it
us,
3
it's like,
ways.
yeah. It's like, no, none of that works.
My husband proposed 60-40, and she would not take it. So we offered to let her own the business 100%, and we'd work for her. She said she couldn't do it alone, so we were at a stalemate. They have an uncle in banking, so she said she'd talk to him and see about the 60-40. She came back a couple weeks later and said if we can't agree to 50-50, then we can't do it. But her dad still wanted to retire and sell the business. She said she'd just buy the building, but she couldn't do it for some years. He didn't want to wait, so she agreed to work for us for more money than she was currently making, and in the future, when the business did better, buy into it. So we bought the business in 2024. Just my husband and I. We gave her $17.50 an hour, $2 raise, vacation days, finally got group insurance, and offered her a paid Saturday off a month and 5-day work week instead of 6. She agreed. My husband and I gave ourselves a salary and make $900 after taxes every 2 weeks. For perspective, she makes $1,800 every 2 weeks. Okay, so hopefully it's $900 each. We agreed to take on the burden of upgrading the business, maximizing profits, and then cutting her in eventually while she gets her personal life together. She wanted to buy a house eventually and pay off debts. She's still living with her parents as we speak. So Tara, as soon as we bought the business, she quit, saying she wanted Maggie to own it, so she left. We hired a new employee, Nat, and after a few weeks, she came to me asking if we punted sister-in-law out of the business and spilling all the trash she'd been talking about me. So I admit I said some things back. After months of this and hearing more stuff, I confronted her and she flipped it back on me, saying, "I'm sure you talk crap too." I couldn't deflect that, so I had to just accept both of us apologizing and move forward. I keep hearing more and more, but would bite my tongue. We ended up hiring another employee, Octavia, but didn't hear much from her. They clicked instantly. Well, I fired Nat for performance reasons, and quickly Octavia started coming to me about stuff sister-in-law had been saying. More lying about punting her out of the business, and she does all the work and gets nothing. Mind you, my husband works 12 hours a night, 6 days a week, and I work 6 days, 10 hours a day. She gets paid double and more free time. I do all of the business stuff, payroll, marketing, taxes, insurance, you name it. I also decorate now, and she does sometimes, although she hasn't learned as much as I have due to staffing and us trying to upgrade, so saving as much as possible. We're struggling to make ends meet with our mortgage and bills and low pay. We put so much on our credit card when buying the house because we had everything invested in the business. So we're passing away trying to pay the minimum down with high interest. To make things even tighter, I got a call my 2 young siblings' parental rights were terminated, and we're expecting to adopt them and take them in this year. Wow. I had to get a part-time job to pay off our debt before they come. Again, small town, so I get a job at a local bar bartending. And my new boss, first day, says, "So I heard you punted sister-in-law out of the business." No.
So not how it works.
Okay, also, this is very similar to what happened in my college town. Where there was like a cafe, and it was like split between 3 people. 2 people weren't really doing the work, but one person was. And then the other person had to get a part-time job to kind of make ends meet at a bar.
Yeah.
I might know who this person is. Probably not,
Just
but
might.
it just is very similar.
You just might. I just bit my tongue and half explained things as to not talk bad around town about my sister-in-law. I never said anything to her about it, just moved on. Well, we just had a break in July. We take for a week for the 4th. When we got back, Octavia told me sister-in-law came to her and her parents' house for dinner and told them all this crap about us punting her out of the business and how she got the short end of the stick. Octavia was adopted, and I wanted to talk to her parents about adoption, so it really hurt being cut off from that resource now that she badmouthed us. It especially hurt her brother, who's been really struggling working so much and making so little. She gets paid double, does the least work most days off, and will still eventually get ownership in the business, while we spend the time upgrading it. From where I'm sitting, that sounds like a good ride. We confront her about talking trash, and she just deflects and deflects. Hey, girl.
I don't understand people that, dish it out but can't take it at all. It makes no sense.
Yeah, he's like,
right?
why are you talking trash? And she's like, me?
I could
No.
never.
Oh, no.
I could never.
Yeah, it's annoying whenever it's a part of someone's, I think, like, personality. They, make fun of people or, they just kind of pick and it's whatever. But at a point, it gets too much.
Yeah.
And you pick, dude, I've done this with, an uncle or cousin. I pick back. They go right to my mom, and then my mom was like, why are these people are talking about you? Why are they talking about you? And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
My husband is tired of her twisting things when she had the option to buy the business 100%, but couldn't. I even offered to get a different job, and my husband and sister-in-law get 50-50. But my husband wanted me involved and wouldn't do it without. He values my opinions and our plan. Frankly, he's over the drama, the mean girl stuff. He told her to get therapy, but she just doesn't see her fault in any of it. I know I'm missing things, and there's been so much little stuff, it's hard to remember everything. But am I the a-hole in this situation? And there is an update, folks. But what do you think, Angie?
I think no. I think no.
I think no.
No. Right? I mean,
I
because
agree.
she's
No.
like, the mother-in-law is just like,
Yeah, doing
you know
nothing.
what I mean? Doing the, she'll
Just
she'll
causing
like
problems.
scheme and scam and talk crap and stuff behind backs, but then
Yeah.
when things like actually happen or when you actually need to like confront business expenses and stuff, she's just like, you're talking to me? Huh?
And the sister-in-law, I mean, she wants this 50%, but she can't afford it. It's like, oh, that sucks, but you can't.
Yeah.
So what do you want us to do?
Right.
Pay for everything?
Right. It's like, it's not me kicking you out of the business.
It's you
It's-
not being able to afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but I think that, honestly, I mean, I assume that you can't fire her. But it
If
would
she,
be
like,
nice.
owns
to
it. Yeah.
There's gonna be so much hate, and it's just gonna press it more if you fire. Is she not a good worker though?
I don't know. I don't think it's that she's not a good worker. I think it's just that she's spreading all these lies around town and being like a terrible person.
Okay, well,
She's
As
not.
long-
I think she's not contributing in the way that OP is. Though. Like OP
Yes.
and her husband are like
Working
sprucing
a
the
lot
place
more.
up and stuff, and she's just kind of like doing the she's not putting as much in.
Update. Hey y'all, quick update. My husband and I both had a conversation with her, and she still deflected. I expressed how she'd been bullying me for 2 years, and since the business, it's only been worse. I told her she has an easy ride, and it's unfair to keep talking trash and benefiting the most. She hasn't apologized for talking or even acknowledge it. She's taken the victim route. Now she's claiming she can just find another career path because she doesn't want to take. And for us to struggle, it would just be better for all of us if she goes. That's basically what she texted me last. My husband was furious. He said, "That's all she said back to you?" Yep. He told me not to respond and that he would handle it. He broke down later in the night saying how he sees himself in her, how he was in the beginning of our relationship. He would always deflect any conflict. He teared up, explaining it's just how we grew up. Although the sister-in-law situation hasn't changed, it's so beautiful seeing my husband be able to break barriers in his personal growth. I myself have a long history of therapy and constantly overcoming bad habits from my upbringing. I can see my sister-in-law having some mental health issues, but she doesn't see it. A little therapy for my sister-in-law would go a long way for all of us, and she's not inherently a bad person. I'd be so easy to just fire her and move on. But she's still family and I care about her well-being. If she could just change, we could make it work for all of us. Anyway, he's at work now with her. He's going to talk with her before he leaves. I'm not sure if he's going to fire her or give her another chance. I think that all depends on how sister-in-law responds to him. He for sure is telling her she needs to apologize, and if she can't change, she has to go. Thank you all for your insight. It's been a breath of fresh air having outside perspectives. All I have around us is his family. So my husband is my rock and has been so supportive through all of this. I'll update more when we get a conclusion. Update 2. Do you have any thoughts before we get into that?
Update 2. I don't know. I just think like it's one of those situations where it's like, well, you can have your whole family against you or you can do what's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally.
Like, or
why?
you can not have your whole family against you or you can do what's right. You know what I mean? It's like that's
yeah, and I think it's like good that OP, or it's understandable that OP is like, I don't want to abandon her because she is family.
right.
But you know, at a certain point, it is just business.
It's just business. It's not personal.
Update 2. My husband asked his dad about the situation, and he basically said, I'm going to bed. Like I said, avoids conflict. So my husband said he's thinking maybe there's other options other than firing, like reduction of pay. He absolutely does not want any part of any legal action. He said, that's corporate stuff and this is family, and I respect him and how he feels on that. Although he knows I'm different and would definitely do that with my family, but again, we grew up different. Honestly, though, I feel if we reduce her pay, she'll probably just leave anyway because she's threatened to leave before when she asked for more pay and we told her we couldn't do it. My husband still wants to stew on it a bit before he makes a decision. I told him I want to be included as we're partners, and he said he'd keep me included in his thoughts the next couple days. I guess I'll have to update you more when there's an actual resolution. And there is a third update, folks. My husband messaged her reduction of $1 in pay. No more paid Saturday off a month, and her attitude and behavior will change or she'll have to go. He went to bed after the text was sent, and when I got home, I of course checked his phone to see if she responded, and she did. She said, she'll just have to leave then, because she can't take a reduction of pay. It was $1. Blaming everything on me, minimizing and straight up denying behaviors, and twisted everything around. She then set a series of messages because his read receipts are on, and of course, I didn't respond on his phone, not my place. She said, so what's that decision then? I'm assuming since you didn't respond, as if anything she said would have changed his mind. She didn't even utter one I'm sorry, and she thought he would just cave and take back the consequences of her actions? Wild. Anyways, I responded to her on my phone saying my husband was asleep and didn't read the text. I did. She didn't respond, of course, LOL. Although I haven't heard from my husband, if she does accept the terms, then she will be gone because he nor I will back down on the consequences. In my opinion, she's lucky it's just that and not firing, but I guess we'll see if she's bluffing. By the way, I never bluff about how many episodes we have with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
Well, wait. Everyone says 160 a month. Okay, so if she doesn't get that day, I'm doing the math because I like doing math on this kind of stuff. Okay, so 1 day, 8 hours times $17.50 is 140. Okay, plus $1 off, so that's 120. Because if it's 40 hours, wait. Let's see. Sorry, 40 times 4 is 160. So I got that wrong. Look how we're like cross-referencing here. So it's wait. Oh, man, I pressed times. Okay, so she's getting paid $300 less a year, or a month.
Okay.
$300 less a month. Okay, we're all good here.
All right,
we got our
there we go.
mathing.
Okay, great job.
There
Great job,
we go.
Riley. That's a significant.
That's
significant.
And there is a final update, but I think all of these changes are fair.
Yeah, I mean,
because she's causing trouble, and if you cause trouble for your boss, they're not going to want to keep you. There are going to be consequences.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a good way to do it too. Like, especially if she's family and they can't just be like, you're out of here. Like, they can be like, okay, well, like reducing pay and stuff like that, that's something that can be earned back.
Yeah.
You know, so
Exactly. Like if she, behaves properly
yeah,
and helps out, then yeah, she could probably get a raise.
exactly.
But there's a fourth update, folks, and I think final update. Basically, she declined the consequences and said it would be her last day yesterday. My husband felt bad because she had personal things going on with her dog and needs the money. Well, then she should have stayed. It's on her. So kindly he offered to let her stay until that situation is over with, which is about 3 weeks a month, I believe. I'm not sure. She hasn't responded yet, at least not since my husband went to sleep. I work all day today until 10 p.m. with my second job, so won't be able to at least talk to my husband until then. I really wanted to just make one final update, but these things take time, especially with family. My husband did ask if I was okay with allowing her to stay with no consequences, and then she leaves after, and I said, yes, of course. I'm in no place to just punt his sister out, nor would I want to. So that's all for now, and I'll have to update y'all when she responds with her answer. Either way, she'll be gone at some point, so that's somewhat of a conclusion. Thank y'all for your feedback. I guess that's all for now, and for a while. And folks, that's all for that story.